Welcome back to Discogs Decides. This is the little series that I've got going here where I use the Discogs app on my phone to randomly decide what records we're going to talk about today. You can do this too on your phone, either on iOS or Android. Just go into the Discogs app if you have all of your record collection in the Discogs app, which you definitely should, and go into your collections tab and randomly shake the app and see what we get. Let's see what we get today. Here we go. Awesome. Very first one here is another set of 7-inch records, but this is the Timmion 7-inch singles box volume 1. So if you've watched any videos on the channel before, you've definitely probably heard me talk about Timmion Records. Timmion is an awesome funk and soul record label from Finland, and they're very much in the vein of Daptone Records, where there's kind of a stable of musicians, and then they have different front artists that put out different records. In the early years, it was the Soul Investigators, and now they've got a group called Cold, Diamond, and Mink, which is really, really awesome. And what they'll do is they'll basically put out like a 45 with a soul singer on the front on A side, and then the B side will have just the instrumental with that group, either the Soul Investigators or Cold, Diamond, and Mink. In the early days of Timmion Records, they had these compilation box sets, which were basically 5 45s from the early days of Timmion Records. This is the very first volume, and there's 5 volumes of these. I have 2 of the volumes, and I'm trying to get all of them, but they're a little bit hard to find now because they're no longer in print. What's really cool with this little box set is you get this awesome box, and inside we have a really cool booklet that has a picture and a write-up of each of the 45s, as well as a bunch of stickers that it comes with, and it comes with a nice cool spindle that keeps it all in place so that they don't shake around inside the box set, which is very handy. This box set is their first 5 45s, and it comprises mostly of Nicole Willis and the Soul Investigators. The Soul Investigators were their original instrumental group, and Nicole Willis was their first big soul artist that sang with them. She is really fantastic. I think she released 2 LPs with them, as well as a bunch of different 45s. These 45s are mostly from her first LP, so if you find her first LP out there, you'll get most of these songs on it, which is really great. But these guys record in all analog. They cut everything to tape, just like Daptone. Daptone and them are kind of like a brother-sister label across the oceans here. Daptone does a lot of their distributing in the US here, and I think they handle some of the distribution for Daptone over in Europe. But I definitely would check out Timmion Records if you get a chance. Any of the artists on there are really great. They have a lot of reissues and new artists, so I would definitely go and see what other ones they have out there. There's also some different kinds of music too. It's not all just funk and soul stuff. They have some jazz, and they do have some indie rock stuff as well. So definitely go check out Timmion Records. Okay, that's great. So if Discogs decides on a box set here, you guys get bonuses because I'm still going to try to do 3 shakes per episode. So here we go with our next one, the Discogs decides. Oh, very, very awesome. Freddie Hubbard, Polar AC. Very excited to get this one off the shelf. So Discogs picked a fantastic one with this. This is one of my favorite records. This is one of the records that really set off my record collection, because the CTI label was one of the first record labels that I really started to dive deep into and really collect all of the records from it. And Freddie Hubbard was one of the catalyst artists for that from the album Red Clay. But this was the second one that I ever got, which was Polar AC. This album is so good. There are so many good players on it. Ron Carter, Billy Cobham, Jack DeJohnette, Lenny White, George Benson, Hubert Laws, Airto, George Cables, Junior Cook. Like, the row of people on this record is just fantastic. This record has 3 different drummers on it. So there's Billy Cobham. Jack DeJohnette is one of my favorite drummers. In fact, he might be my favorite drummer. I use his drumsticks exclusively, the Vic Firth Jack DeJohnette series drumsticks, but he is just one of the sickest fusion drummers out there. He played on Bitches Brew. He's on a lot of the Electric Miles fusion stuff. He's on a lot of these CTI records, and that's actually where I first started really getting into him, was through all these CTI records. And then Lenny White was also on Bitches Brew, and he is another fantastic, amazing drummer, and he also has some great fusion records out there as well. And you also have George Benson. Now, George Benson in this era of the CTI era is all the George Benson records that you want to get. George Benson in this era is so good. I would say anything with George Benson from the mid to late 60s all the way up until about 75 or 76 when he started singing. That's when he started really getting into smooth jazz stuff, and I don't really get into a lot of that stuff, but it is still good. I have Breezin', I have a couple of those albums, but these albums, when he's ripping with these guys on this stuff, it is just amazing. This is some of the best guitar playing you're ever gonna hear from George Benson. One of the main reasons I got this record is for People Make the World Go Round. It's an amazing song. It's a cover song, and it's arranged here by Bob James. There are different versions of that song out there with vocals, but this is just an instrumental version with Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, and it is just fantastic. You gotta check out this record if you're into funk, jazz, or soul. These also get pretty big with their string arrangements as well, so there's a lot of lush strings on this too. This is recorded at Rudy Van Gelder Studios. All the CTI stuff mostly is recorded at Van Gelder Studios. So this is basically what Blue Note Jazz would have been in the 70s. These amazing covers too with their gloss and their gatefolds and these amazing pictures from Pete Turner. Just everything about the CTI label is fantastic. So you gotta go check out CTI if you don't have a lot of their records. Okay, let's see what else we get from Discogs today. Another Daptone 45, La Culebra, The Company. This is a good one. This is another reason why I'm doing this series, is it's pulling out all these 45s that I probably wouldn't have thought about pulling out for you guys, just because I would have probably overthought it and thought about trying to put them in some kind of collection or whatever. But here it is. This is La Culebra from The Company. La Culebra or La Culebra. This is one of the sickest, funkiest tracks you will ever hear in your entire life. I'm pretty sure it's Adam Scone on organ on this, and it's basically the Sugarman 3, but it's other people that make up The Company, and so I think that's why they labeled it this. But this is one of the earliest Daptone records, DAP 1008. This is one of the original 10 45s from Daptone Records, and it's got this awesome silver label with their alternate D logo, which I really love that alternate D logo. It doesn't, I couldn't find any listings exactly on who the instrumentalist's on this, but I'm pretty sure it's Adam Scone on organ. I'm pretty sure it's the Sugarman 3. I know the track is written from Neil Sugarman, who is one of the original saxophone players for Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, and he's one of the original Dap Kings, and he's also one of the original founders of the Daptone label. This is the first pressing silver label edition, and what's really cool about this is it actually has the original address for the original label on it. This is the 182 Havemeyer Street address. So the later labels have a different address on it, and the later labels also are brown. So if you see those out there, you might see a brown label of this one out there. So Discogs decided some pretty awesome records today. I'm glad that it decided on that Timmion box set. You guys should definitely go check out Timmion Records if you've not heard of them before. But hopefully you like this series. I'm gonna try to do a couple more of these and keep them going. If you do like it, definitely let me know in the comments below, or watch some more of the videos on the channel like this one right here. I will see you guys on the next one.